Hello, my lovelies. This is Reef Beef, and what we need you to know is that we use strong language. Sometimes it is foul, and we don't do it egregiously, but it happens, and we want you to know that because we don't want you to start blaring this and then be all offended when you hear us use a strong word. So that being said, enjoy the show. Welcome to Reef Beef. My name is Ben.
My name is Richard.
And today we're going to talk about fish that we like to put into reef tanks. We're going to expound on some other stuff and complain about a few things or talk about some other stuff and be super vague. I want to say thank you to saltwateraquarium.com. I want to thank Champion Lighting Supply, and I want to thank PolypLab. Those are our sponsors, and we thank you very much. And we thank you, Beefers, for helping support us and sponsor us. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Hey, Richard, what's going on, baby?
So much is going on. It's insanity all the time.
Really?
No, it's good. It's all right. Things are good. My brain is getting better, and I'm starting to be excited about some things again. So I'm quite optimistic about being optimistic.
Is those personal things or those
are personal
things?
Oh, I've been in a world of shit for 6 months. And then it got worse 2 months ago. It was great. But reefing wise, I'm getting enthusiastic about that. I've done a bunch of work in the big tank because there was that RTN issue that seems to have stopped. And then I hacked a bunch of stuff out, and I love that you can't tell, both because I have a lot of stuff and because I have worked for 25 years to figure out how to make it look like it grew there for 20 years, even though I just put it there.
Yeah.
And I'm getting excited about spawning. The babies are doing well, and I'm working on the spawn video, and I hope to have that finished as soon as possible. I cleaned the glass in here, so that's a big step. And then I want to get down under the house and finish up the stuff that we started when you were here. So, yeah.
Are the babies toddlers now? Can you say that?
Yeah, you can.
Are they toddling?
They're toddling. They're about to start branching.
Oh, wow.
I might have I will get a pic to put it in here. So you pretend like you're going, ooh, look at that.
Wow. Oh, look how it goes off to the right.
Oh, wait, maybe I can do this. Hold on. Let's try this. So,
yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah, and here Richard has taken his camera and has got it. Oh, you have little biota yellow tangs.
I do.
Those are very cute. So now we're looking at a frag rack where his coral toddlers are at. It's not super close up, but there it is.
That's as close as I can get. The top left there are the ones that I was worried about. They were separate, but then they seem to join up and not fight each other. So they're not dead. And then I've got some other ones here and there about the tank. It looks like they took up the symbionts from Damacornis from Opera. Damacornis.
Oh.
They're that bright color, and the parents were not that bright color. So the kind of idea is that the symbionts, corals are sluts, and the symbionts are picky.
Now don't slut shame.
I'm not. I think sluts are great. I am one. There's some video of symbionts like trying to get inside of the coral, like they swim over and try to get in, and some corals will take any and some won't. So
wait a minute. This is blowing my mind. I was not aware of this. So okay. So I mean, and I'm not an expert on this one I'm about to tread into. So when I look at a coral and I see the correlation, I understand the coloration. I understand that I'm seeing color from the zoox, and I'm seeing color from UV reflective pigments. So if a Acropora millipora takes in some symbionts from a different type of coral, that can sort of change the coloration of it.
Yeah, the fluorescent green pigment, the fluorescent red pigment. We've seen that for a while, there was an undata going around that had a lot of red in it.
Oh,
Does
that account for the ambiguity of corals?
Dude, the whole world of corals is so complicated and messed up. It's stupid and complicated. The idea, I mean, just wrapping your head around the idea that the Symbiodinium, the algae in quotes, the zooxanthellae, which we don't call it that anymore, but who cares? That tiny little friggin' thing can find the coral it wants to be in and get in there is insane.
And we don't exactly know the mechanics behind it.
They swim around and shit. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that stuff.
But it's like, and I know I'm getting this wrong, but it's like an enzyme the coral has, and then the dinoflagellate is like, oh, I like that one, and then they crawl
smells
in.
it smells it, and it goes over there. I mean, it's just get this. When we were working with the pygmy seahorses, the Barjabanti, the little ones, get their life. They get birthed into the water column 80 feet down in big currents, and they spread out and they go wherever the hell they go. And then they find one fucking species of Moricella gorgonian sea fan to land on and find. How the fuck does a tiny little 4-millimeter baby seahorse swim against any current enough to be able to find Moricella? Sorry, 2 species. It's wackadoodle. The ocean is wackadoodle and stupid and insane.
Well,
and
all of nature is wackadoodle. And that's what I think is, not that I'm a giant science brain, but I think that's funny because people love to say that that's so complicated. It must be, what is that thing? It must
the intelligent design?
Yeah. But the way I see it, it's like a weird sort of, I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but like entropy, like some organization inside of chaos, where it's not that someone designed it that way. It's just the order inside of chaos.
Yeah, it's a miracle that it happened at all. I mean, why is the human body's sewer system built next to its amusement park? I would not have designed that. That's insanity. But it works. So anyway, we're working on the video. It should be done hopefully in a few weeks. And then I'm prepping. I'm getting ready for the next spawn. So, which will be coming up November, December. So.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
quick.
Hey, Richard, saltwateraquarium.com. That's where you want to go. But listen, when you go there, we need you to use our URL link down here, because we need you to go there via us so they know that it involves us. But they have everything under the sun. And look what Richard has loaded up on his phone. If you're viewing, they have an app on your phone, because you can literally, you could be in the middle of a bank robbery and order from saltwateraquarium.com.
But only use the app if you hate us.
Yes. But anyway, so they have 3 locations across the continental United States. They can strategically get you things.
Yeah, I often get stuff so quickly, and it usually ships same day, which is pretty awesome.
So anyways, they're small enough to still have that family-owned touch to them. So, support them. They have a lot of resources as well. They have, online resources to talk to them and to learn things and stuff like that. You look at our links down below.
Yeah, you can text them questions and they'll answer you. You can join their Facebook group and they will help you out as well. And we've been using them for a long time, since before the show existed. And we like to use them now. And and we like them as people. They're great people and they've been very supportive of us. So we super appreciate them. They've got all kinds of stuff that I wouldn't use, right? So they've got like these cool cabinets for your controllers, because a huge section of the hobby now is check out how cool my tech is, which is interesting and cool. But they've got the octopus on it. And if I had a place, my system, I'm like, I look at it every time I go on the site and I go, should I just buy one so I could have it? And it's like, no, that's the stupidest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's a super cool cabinet. So check them out. saltwateraquarium.com. Use the link down below, or when you order, put something in the comments, in the notes when you're placing your order about us. The goal is to see if you can get them to text us an image of your funny comment. I don't want to give you any direction anymore. It's up to you people who are listening to decide what to do.
I have a little request though. I'm requesting a limerick. So anyways, thank you, saltwateraquarium.com.
Yeah.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
What's going on with you and your client tanks or your home systems?
In my world, I think that the economy is obviously shaky. But you know, luckily I mostly deal with pretty wealthy people, so they'll still, you know, be there, but it's been a little quiet. But the great thing is this last, I don't know, half a year, I packed on some pretty large clients. So it's totally, you know, sustaining me on that. I'm good to go. I'm busy as heck, bringing, you know, 6 months ago, I took on all these other larger pre-existing tanks. And so, you know, here at about the 6-month mark, I'm like really have put my mark on them. Clients are happy. Tanks are looking killer. You know, my effect on these systems has shown. Everyone's happy. And so that's awesome too. I had spoken in another show about a client gave me a cube tank, and I'm in the process of I have 8 tanks inside my house. So I'm in the process of taking some of them down.
Good.
Because of redheaded stepchildren. And so, yeah, my commitment that I made, which is funny in my head, I was like, why did I say that? But so I'm doing a SPS dominated tank, the bare bottom, because maybe some people's like, Ben, why the fuck would you say you do that? Because, you know, it's stupid to do something you don't want to do. But I'm going to do a bare bottom SPS tank because I don't like bare bottom tanks.
Oh God, can you just glue the frags right to the bottom?
Yeah.
No rock, nothing. Just grow a full-on cube of coral.
I might do something weird like that to play with it.
Glue them on the walls. You have to
Yeah.
use C-tack, I think, because the super glue will pop off.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not telling you how to do your tank. You do whatever you
No,
want.
hey, the ideas are cool, but I'm gonna set that in place and start getting that going. You know, cycling a bare bottom tank is super fun, and then the uglies and all. But I'm gonna think about it and come up with something weird.
What are you gonna do for the bottom of the tank besides my jokes about gluing stuff right to the bottom?
I might actually do that because I can't stand to look at the bare bottom. So I might just try to see if I could get some SPS to like battle it out on the bottom.
You know, when I set up my tank, I had this debate about what to do with the bottom because I didn't want a sand bed. And so I did a faux sand bed, which was it's the starboard, and then I scuffed it and glued sand to it. And because I used white starboard because I want the reflection like sand. I think the reflection makes a difference. But then I ended up having to put some sand on top of it because glued sand gets covered in algae, and then it just looks brown, and that's no fun. So I ended up with sand that moves around in the tank. But
do you regret gluing sand to it?
No, not at all. Because now I changed the flow around, and there's a spot where the sand all got blown off. But so now I'm not looking at the bottom of the tank. I'm looking at this fake sand bed that I created years ago. So it keeps the naturalistic look alive, and I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I'll get moving on that and start documenting what all goes on with it. But
I got one other thing to catch up on. That Aquashella is happening this weekend.
Yes.
And because of life stuff, neither one of us could make it there. I'm having some serious FOMO, and I'm hoping that and you know, by the time this comes out, the show will be over and we'll know everything. And I'm hoping everyone's just having the bestest time in the world. It's a great show filled with great people running it and great people attending it. And I certainly hope I'm able to get to the next one.
Man, I haven't been looking at my my Facebook much because I don't normally feel FOMO, but I was definitely feeling it on that and just feeling. But like on mine, I can talk about it like, well, there was a death in the family a couple weeks ago. And then it's kind of fun. I didn't even realize this. Like my son plays like flag football and he had his like Super Bowl of it. And then my daughter, my oldest daughter, graduated high school. And I was like, dude, there's no way I could have been at Aquashella.
Yeah, there's so much
I miss
shit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had a problem reading, I think we both posted to a post Raj put up or somebody put up about who's going. And I know we watched like 100 people go, me. And then we both, I think separately went, I wish I could be there, have fun.
Yeah. It's, and part of FOMO sort of also feels like, and this isn't necessarily narcissistic, but us as you and me as content creators, I sort of feel like, oh man, if you're not there, you don't exist either.
Yeah, we'll exist next time.
Yes. So have fun, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean, for putting that together. It's great.
So Richard, you got some sort of beef over there?
It's not a beef. It's kind of a beef. I just wanted to, because I was thinking about some stuff about the social justice kind of stuff that we cover on our show. And it occurred to me that I should talk a little bit about why I never go to the Rainbow Reefers meetup or the Women in Reefers meetup. And I know they're open to everyone, but, and this probably, I think of those meetups as safe spaces. And I don't feel that I should be bringing my cisgendered white male juice energy into those meetings just to go, just to say I've been there. I don't want to, and then I don't want to dance around and go, well, I was at the meeting. I want to support it, but I really think of those things as safe spaces, and they don't need me. My feeling is they don't need nor want me in there while they're doing their thing. Now I could be wrong about that. And if anybody wants to invite me, say, hey, I want you as a member of this community. I want you to come to this meeting just to be there. I don't want you to say anything, unless you're asked, but, your presence there would be something I would want. If anybody in either of those groups said that to me, I would go. But I'm not just going to show up, because it's like, for the same reason I'm not going to an AA meeting uninvited. Boy, someone's going to take that the wrong way. But it's just, I got no business there unless I'm asked to bring my business there. So for me, it's respecting the safe space, and knowing that I'm not part of that community. I'm a fucking old white man now. I don't need to be around there. In my opinion.
That is so funny that you said that, because you and I didn't necessarily powwow on that, but hardcore, that has been my feeling for a long time too. Like, it's funny, like, since we started the show, the LGBTQ community has really embraced in the reefing has really embraced us. And on Facebook, there's like a Rainbow Reefers thing, and they asked me and you to be in there. I don't say shit in there. And, the other thing too is when there was a MACNA or whatever show, they'll often reserve a room and have a meeting. It has never once occurred to me, again, you say with the safe space, and I know some people get squirmy about that word, but they have sequestered a room to have a little powwow. It'd be because they also do a professional Aquarius. And what if I was just a rando that walked into there, and they're like, who are you? And oh, I'm just a rando. And they're like, why, bro?
I think there is that. And I think there's a little bit more. You and I tend to take over rooms if given a tiny in. And I certainly don't want to do that to other people who are talking about important shit.
I'd be horrified.
I guess the real reason to bring it up is because I realized, oh God, I hope people aren't thinking that I'm slighting them by not going to those meetings. I'm intentionally not going to those meetings unless asked, because it feels like going to, dropping in at somebody's wedding who you just don't really know. It just feels And I think safe spaces are really important. I think, I know people go, ooh, but everyone's got safe spaces, you know, every got my man cave. Yeah, that's your safe space, buddy. No one else goes in there and gives you shit. That's it. That's almost the definition of man cave. Everyone else stay the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone understands a safe space. So I want to be respectful of that. And if you want me to just come and be there and sit in the room, I will do my best at those meetups to come and just sit in the room.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know the word for it, but it seems so silly. I love being an ally, and I love for those people to feel like I'm an ally. But like the last thing I want to do is take my white straight ass into a room and say, well, this is what I think. The fucking room is not even there for, you know, I'll be on the sidelines like when someone slights you and say, hey, you know, not cool, man. But I no one needs to hear. The room isn't there for my opinion as a straight white dude. Yeah. I've zero ego about being asked to be an ally, but just hush. That's fine.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to say whatever I say, what I think about these issues, because I'm allowed to say whatever I say and think about these issues. But I really think it's important to take the lead from the people who are actually in those communities. You know, as soon as people started organizing around the reef to reef crap, you know, I backed way the hell off. I was like, you guys don't need me anymore. I'm here if you want me, but it's not about me.
Well, we'll do like what we did. We'll talk about it and we'll bring it to social media, because there's so many people that were like, oh, damn, I didn't even know that was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll shine a light on it, but I'm not going to direct it.
Yeah. So there, I think safe spaces is important. I think those meetings are important, and I think it's awesome when they're happening either online or live. And me and Ben not being there is respect.
Yep.
And if we've got that wrong, because we don't know what the hell we're doing, just let us know and we'll do something different.
Yep.
There you go. That's what I had.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick. PolypLab, they are your friends. They make stuff that's really good. PolypLab, they're your friends. What do we use from PolypLab?
I use Reefroids from PolypLab to feed my corals and keep my phosphate at a level that is acceptable. It's one of my go-to foods for baby corals, like after they've settled and they're only heterotrophically feeding. This is one of the mainstays of my mix. Reefroids by PolypLab. Take us home, Ben.
So if you watch the show a lot, you know that what I do when I first get to a tank is I take a fat pinch and I put it in the tank and have it flood feed, and then I clean the tank after that. Heavy in, heavy out. I love Reefroids. Thank you, PolypLab. Oh God, let me do this over again real quick. So Richard, I wanted to make a show about, and I want, you know, of course, your input on it as well, about fish that since I take care of so many tanks, like sort of, you know, the fish that I love to always, you know, the things I'm finding that I always want one of those in a tank to do something or to look a certain way. And so I compiled a list.
Nice.
And with little comments about it. And sometimes I go specific, and then sometimes I go broad. And I just, you know, I wanted to go through that. And for entertainment purposes, I could have done more of this, but at entertainment purposes, I want to stumble through some Latin names on some of them too. Because Lord knows everyone likes when I butcher Latin names.
When you Texify.
But I'll just jump right into it right off the bat. And this is no in particular order or anything.
So this is fish that Ben likes to recommend in client tanks. And over and over and over again, these are the fish he falls back to. And you're going to tell us why and talk about the fish. Okay, great. I love it. I want to marry it.
Yeah. So why don't you?
No, I just want to have an affair with it on the side whenever it's convenient for me. I don't want to actually marry it.
And then walk away from it when you're bored with it.
Yeah. We get a hotel.
No one needs to know. So right off the bat, normally we stay away from damsels, okay? Because they're little assholes. Why am I saying a-holes?
It's your baby.
Yeah, but I love Springrai. damsels.
Oh, well, let me fix you there. It's Springer A.
What?
No, I'm kidding with you. I'm fucking.
Oh,
with you.
okay, good.
Tell me about. I've never kept one.
Really?
Really? Tell me why I should get one.
So I am so cynical about when I see a fish marketed, oh, this fish does this. You know what, man? After all this time of doing this, I don't buy that shit anymore, because 9 times out of 10, they don't do that shit. I was first interested in Springer-eye damsels because they supposedly ate red planaria. Okay. I don't know, the viewers watching this, is invariably there's going to be someone that says, oh, they did that in my tank. I have gone through dozens. I love their attitude. The reason I love them, you can even put them together. They don't have, 9 times out of 10, they don't have that dicky damsel behavior. They're just super chill and they're pretty. It's a very deep blue, like a black background with very deep blue scales that I find is very interesting.
How big do they get?
You know, man, not very. They stay pretty damn small too. I would say around an inch, maybe under that.
And are they aggressive?
Dealing with animals, it's hard. You know, they're not computer programs, so it's like there's going to be someone out there that said, I put a Springer-eye in a tank.
But in your experience, they're not like 6-line wrasse.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's to the point where I have at least one Springer-eye in every single reef tank that I do.
And you just like the blue pop. You like how they look and how they act.
The blue pop. And I love fish that are going to be there and be cool looking. And man, no one messes with them. They don't mess with anyone else. They don't mess with the harmony of the tank. They're just there doing their cool thing. Great temperament, supposed to eat planaria, but I have never seen it or experienced it, and I love their coloration.
Okay.
But you've never kept one.
No. And I'm in a weird place now with stocking. Part of me wants to never buy anything again if I can avoid it. Just to let everything, I kind of don't want to get anything unless I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
Corals and fish, except for the spawning stuff. So I'm kind of like, for fish, I'm like, maybe not. But this is clearly, this is good to hear. Yeah, I've never kept a Springer-eye. I've got the damsel thing in my head. Damsels.
For sure. And a lot of us have that, and it's turned into a trope or whatever. But the problem is as they collect in other areas and more species become more available to us, it's sort of tricky if you're a novice. You don't have the knowledge to do. But just in the case of the popularization of the Springer-eye, they pull stuff out, and you'll overlook something if you keep that attitude too much.
Sure. Chalk
Basslets, easily, and it seems so weird, but easily one of my. So a lot of these are weird because it's not mainstream. It's just what yums my yum. Chalk Basslets, I absolutely adore.
It's actually Kalk Basslet.
Kalkwasser Basslet. Okay, I haven't done a Latin name yet, but I'll get to it.
Chalk bass was my favorite fish at the beginning when I got back into the hobby in the early 2000s.
Really?
I loved the fuck out of chalk bass.
Really?
I thought they were amazing. Yeah. And then they got big and I liked them a lot less. But they are very cool. I like the tobacco basslet as well. I like both of those.
And I'll get to that. So I like the whole.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like the whole basslet complex, but for me, it's weird because for years and years, in dozens of chalk basslets, I've never had them, and even in big tanks. It's funny, Richard, because I've never had them get that big. I used to love lantern, but then in a couple tanks, man, they got way too big and they act like a little sea bass and started going after things like orchid dottyback and whatnot, and started really trying to take stuff out.
I found that with the chalk bass as well.
Really?
But these are ones like I had for 10 years and the tank was probably too small and all that kind of stuff.
Tobacco, I used to love tobacco, but man, if you go find a tobacco basslet and they're just, it's funny, we only think of like the large predators and oh crap, look at that big mini Ottis grouper. But I think you can't forget that on a tiny scale, like a tobacco basslet is like a nasty predator if you're tiny. Harlequin basslet, I love the way a Harlequin basslet looks, but for the little things that I like to keep in a reef tank, man, that's pure death.
Yeah. I think that's a really important point to drop in here. It doesn't really work like a community freshwater tank. There's way too much personality in all of these fish. So really get fish that you like instead of that you think you should have just because.
Well, and the cool thing about chalk basslet too is I've experienced as well. They don't, they're not going to be I always get this wrong because like schooling or shoaling, they're not going to shoal necessarily, but you can put several chalk bass in a tank and they're generally not going to have a problem with each other. If you want to go
the same thing my Vanderbilts do is they each kind of have an area.
And sometimes they'll come together and sometimes they'll take off. Richard right now looks like he's miming in a glass box of emotions.
Different areas.
Some people are going to roll their eyes at this, but it's once bitten Royal Grama. Richard just made a look like he's like, meh, meh.
Yeah, I do that a lot for the Atlantic and Caribbean fishes.
Really?
Like, meh.
I just, so here's the deal with the Royal Grama though. They can have some attitude, not too bad, but they can definitely have some attitude. Here's a weird thing is I will always only put one, but I have some other friends out there. I've seen, it seems like you can't do two, but you could do like 5. They seem, if I've ever put 2 Royal Gramas in a tank, they would just absolutely destroy each other like freshwater beta. But I love their coloration is a deal. And the funny thing is they're one of those fish that it's funny. I don't know if it's collection or what it is, but sometimes they can be a little shaky to getting one and then getting it healthy. Once it does take in your tank, it's an extremely hardy fish that can live for years and years. But sometimes it can be a little tricky. Now, one of my deepest loves is related to this one. And here's a funny little tidbit is I think this fish was the first saltwater fish before I ever kept saltwater fish that I locked eyes on and just blew my mind is a black cat basslet. That was my fish. First love.
That's a cool fish.
Is because the store that I worked at as a freshwater salesman at 16 years old, and the boss had a reef tank. And, I stayed away from saltwater because I grew up with not much money. And it was like, okay, that's unobtainium. But I would always go over to his display and he had a huge black cat basslet in there. And it just blew my mind for whatever reason. There's a Cuban one as well that Biota captive breeds. And I've stood a Dijon guy and I've stood in front of them before, but I don't have that kind of money.
I kept 3 of those at my old job.
Really?
In a little 10-gallon tank. They're cool.
Just like, what are they, like $1,500?
Yeah, I like their colors. But that might be a thing with the Springer eye. That's what I was just looking up to make sure I knew what the Springer eye looked like.
Yeah.
That blue may not be enough for my eyes.
Oh, okay.
But maybe.
Well, that's funny because that blue is on a Springer eye is so deep, and I have no color blindness. Like it's almost hard for me to see as well.
But the Cuban one, that one pops for me. I see that.
Grama Dijon guy.
Yeah. I think we should, if you want one, we should try to pull some strings and get you some for your new tank.
Man, expensive fish sort of make me nervous though, but maybe I would get over that if something was given to me.
I want you to think about it.
Okay.
Think about it for real.
Someone gave me a gem tang once and I killed it. And it's like,
it's an ugly ass fish, man. I don't understand that fish at all. That one seems like, the straight up, oh my God, it's rare. people say it's rare, I should have it. And when it
Those
gets
fish
big,
those fish make me mad, and the hobbyists make me mad too, that love an ugly fish, because what they're really in love with is the rarity and not what it looks like.
I am an ugly fish lover, like really ugly fish, like the Caribbean, like if I saw one, the toadfish, I can't remember
Oh,
the
I
name.
like those. Yeah.
But there's the black one with the white or yellow lines.
Oh, not even the yeah, with yellow. I think it has yellow on its
Yeah,
lips or something.
Dom used to keep them all the time. I haven't seen one in a million years, but if I saw one, I would buy it immediately.
They have an attractive orange one.
Yeah, that orange doesn't orange for me.
Oh, okay.
But I like weird shit. Or I used to like weird shit. I don't have that much weird shit anymore.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Champion Lighting and Supply. That's the way to say that stuff. Champion Lighting and Supply. Todd Kunkel is a golden god.
So I'm gonna do an unboxing. This is my unboxing.
Oh wow.
From Champion Lighting. So it's a weird commercial. I actually asked Todd if I could do this. And I'm very enjoying that Todd lets us do just weird shit to talk about their company. But the main thing I wanted to show you about their packaging, about their boxing, is their packaging. This is what they use as a filler and a cushion. This is an old cardboard box run through a machine that makes it wonderful. So instead of just throwing this, now I can toss this in the recycle bin, but it's got an extra use. There's only a tiny bit of plastic that was put into this box. And I think that's freaking awesome. But what did I order? Because I know people are interested in what I ordered. I ordered a MaxiJet 400, because the MaxiJet 400 I've been using for my auto top off with fresh water for 20 years, finally died. And I have a 1200 on there, and it's just too fast. It's too much pressure. So I ordered 400. And then this is a DI resin. And I talked to Todd and I said, Todd, you don't have individual packets, and I'm a lazy and I just want enough to fill one thing because I'm an idiot. And when I get a big thing, sometimes I leave them not sealed and then they go bad. Right. Yeah. So Todd was very nice enough to have some of his people. He said, no problem. I got people sitting at the register sometimes with nothing to do. And that'll just take a second. So they did these out for me, and I'm pretty happy. I think I bought 8 or 10 of them. Because I was out. So yeah, I love the packaging so much, and I'm happy to show that to you. Champion Lighting and Supply. They have supplies and lighting.
And they're a champion of them. Thank you, Champion Lighting and Supply.
Thank you, Champion. Let them know Reef Beef sent you too. That's always a good thing.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Anyway, your list. Go on.
Orchid Dotty Back, Pseudochromis friedmani. That's easy to say. Orchid Dotty Back. Again, I have no coloration problems with my eyes, but man, a good, when you get that Orchid Dotty Back, Red Sea Pseudochromis, what are the other names they give it? Orchid Dotty Back, Red Sea Pseudochromis. The purple is so intense on there. I don't know if this does it to anyone else's eyes, but for some reason the purple jumps around a little bit. It's so freaking intense purple.
It actinics your eyes.
Yeah, it does.
That's a cool fish. And they're captive bred, so they're a great fish. I always find the dotty backs to be a little meaner than I like. But that's a great fish.
I sort of find that for some reason on balance, like the friedmani, the orchid,
is less.
Tends to be a little less.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I remember a long time ago, some of the other ones were more popular, like Sankey Eye, I think is the one with the horizontal.
Yeah.
Black
What's
dots.
the one that's got like a color, a different color in the front? That's like a gold. It's like dark in the front, a light in the back, or the opposite.
Yeah. I
had one of those. It was a total dick.
Oh, well, there's some horrible pseudochromis because pseudochromis poriferis is the one that sort of looks like a royal grama with the pink up front and the yellow in back. But it is an absolute asshole. Pseudochromis diadema The one that's yellow but has the slanted purple down it, it's a dick. The poor, here's a good point on the Fridmani. There's a sort of shitty purple pseudochromis. The
Pseudochromis shittii.
Exactly. You know what? And I might have misnamed one because I think it is the pseudochromis poriferis, is that all purple. And so someone not knowing what they're looking at, and I just say purple pseudochromis, there is a pseudochromis poriferis and pseudochromis fridmani. It's the fridmani that I like. The poriferis is a jerk.
Fuck that fish.
Fuck him in right in the face.
Right in the neck. Right in the operculum.
Yeah, right in that operculum spot.
Gill clip that motherfucker. No reason.
No, those, the poriferis and the diadema and that other one, they sort of to me, they're as frustrating as a 6-line wrasse.
Excellent.
And a couple times I've been in love with Aldebrensis, which is the neon dotty back. It's really pretty, but it's a total dick.
That's the one.
Yep.
Total
That one's
dick.
a lot of blue, a lot of orange, a lot of, it's a extremely colorful fish. But if you put another smaller fish in there, it gets all hot and bothered about why there's something its size in
I
there.
had that like 30 years ago when sometimes I would not do my research like I should.
Yeah. Then there's that other one, Splendidus, but I don't think I've ever kept one of those. I love most rabbit fish. Some of them get huge though. And my favorite is just a regular. Well, there's Vulpinus low. There's a couple of them because one has a dot, one doesn't have a dot, and then there's that half black one that costs quite a bit.
The Magnificent.
Well, so no, there's the half black, half yellow.
Oh,
But
yeah,
then
yeah,
there's
yeah.
the Magnificent. And man, Magnificents piss me off. I've had a client that wanted one real bad, and I went through like 6 of them in a row, and I even went to Facebook and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I think they were coming out of the Philippines, and I was just having bad luck with them.
Yeah, I like rabbitfish a lot as a utility fish.
Mm-hmm.
They get big. So here, should I say something controversial? Sure.
Do it.
It's a utility fish to me, and I keep a coral tank, not a fish tank. Right? So sometimes catching out a utility fish can be a huge ass pain in a coral tank. I wish I had a laser that I could just quickly euthanize it in the tank and not have to worry about trying to catch it out.
Dude, I do not disagree with you, but it's good. That's gonna land weird.
Yeah, I don't want to kill the fish, but boy, would that be a useful tool, right? Be great to get rid of 6-line wrasses. That can be, my story about having to catch a 6-line wrasse out of my reef tank. Just the short version of it. I took a fish trap. I made a compartment in the back of the fish trap. I got another 6-line wrasse, put it in the compartment of the fish trap, caught the bad one immediately. It went right in to kill the other fish.
6-line wrasses absolutely hate each other.
Did not go after a mirror. I had to go to a store and go, I want to buy that, and I'm going to bring you 2 back. Keep my money. But if I had had a laser that I could have gone zip, which is a fun fantasy because it's never going to happen. And I've always wanted laser eyes since I was a little kid, because that would be the easiest way to aim to.
Cyclops from the X-Men.
Yeah, except without the glasses and shit. I want Superman eyes.
That's true. Like on call, lasers on call, not out of control.
Yeah. So I'm saying that because I'm about to find my trap to catch a fish out of my tank.
Yeah.
Big rabbit fish.
There's some of the other rabbit fish. Maybe it's Gutatus. Some of them that they're cool, but they get like super big. The other thing that I've experienced too is like most rabbit fish don't do this so much when they're smaller, but man, when they get bigger, they start nipping at shit.
Mine, I think, is eating my dendros.
Oh wow. So mostly LPS.
I actually, when they're closed. So it's that horrible cycle. They closed and they get picked on when they're closed. Although I'm figured out a way to do it. I also sit on the couch with my laser set to wide. And when it goes there, I shine the laser at it and then it runs away.
You're trying to do Pavlov's response?
Yeah. But I really just need to catch that fish out.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Hey, people watching this. So the people that watch it habitually and support us through the membership that you'll find a link for down there, we call them beefers because we're Reef beefers. It's not a, it's not a wild jump of the imagination. But say that you've watched some of these and you're like, these schmucks are entertaining. Consider going to our website and looking at our membership tiers and supporting us. It can go from small to large. You could smallly support us or largely support us. It's up to you. And hey, even if you didn't want to support us, whatever, you'll come around. It's all good.
Yeah, and we've been working in the Discord community for, I don't know, maybe it feels like a year now. And I think we've learned a bunch, and we're getting ready to try some other changes to the community to make it better and more useful for members and for the general public. So we should be seeing that over the next 6-8 months, that kind of rolling out. And we're only doing that because you guys support us, and we certainly appreciate it. And boy, while my brain has been goofy, I almost don't go to Facebook at all anymore. I just go look at our community, and it's great. So we really, really, guys and girls and in-betweens and on either sides, and we don't really give a shit. Peoples, thank you so much for supporting us. We really appreciate it. It makes us, it yums our yum.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
All right, I'm sorry. Enough about my fish. Let's go on with your list.
Dwarf angels. So here's going to be the first fun Latin thing. I have always said centropage, but I think I'm saying it wrong.
I always say centropyge.
I think centropage's right.
Well, let's nip that in the bud. There is no right.
It's true.
There's just the way we say it. And Posilopora or Posilopora, my brain, I don't even know which sounds correct anymore.
Acropora.
Yeah.
So dwarf angels, again, it goes back to the beginning of my saltwater career. And it's so funny because yes, they can be nippy. They can definitely also be dicks. And they can definitely also be dicks to each other.
Okay, so rather than talking general, tell me, because there's a lot of fish on your list. Tell me the centropyge that you like. Which ones do you use and why?
I hate to be so cliche, but it usually, well, in the past, it ended up being flame, loriculus. It ended up being flame just because it was like, pow, that's a crazy looking coloration. But since Hawaii closed down, that made that more problematic. I definitely love Coral Beauty, but my only problem with Coral Beauty is there's so many like variations. And if you can't get that strong orange, that's bispinosa.
They're just dark.
You accidentally just get one of the dark ones and it's just like, meh, it's okay. There's ones that get overlooked, like Ebli, that one's sort of tricky. A one I love is that Farragotus Rusty? Those are sort of cool. And Shepherd Eye, those are cool. Then you get into weird ones. I do love that golden one that's deep water, but I think that's Orontius. But they are so freaking cryptic that, when you get something like that, a golden dwarf angel, centropyge Orontius, they're so cryptic. It's hard to enjoy them. I had a bad stroke of luck because I always wanted, I think it's multicolor, centropyge multicolor. And I kept getting them in and kept killing them like an asshole. And then only then did I do a little bit of research and read that they were a little bit cool water. And that might have been part of how I was fucking up.
I keep a Coral Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I got it from Biota, and it came the size of my pinky nail.
Yep.
And I went, well, you're going in the reef. I got nowhere else to put you. And it was out and feeding that day.
Yep. I had the exact same experience from Biota.
So that's pretty great. And I also, I love me a Potters.
Potters. Biota just recently is captive breeding potters.
which is fantastic, which means if mine ever dies, I can get another one. Love that fish.
And
That
here's
fish
an-
makes me so happy with all the different colors. Ugh. And the
Here's
patterns.
another weird tidbit. The first central pyggy I ever kept was a Potter's, which is strange, but it's because I got a discount at the store that I worked at. And this is probably 1997. I got a discount at the store I worked at because I grew up with not much money. And even back then, that was an expensive central pyggy. So anyways, love those central pyggies. Generally, in my experience, if you want a central pyggy, you just get one because they'll generally fight. You know, but then you say that and some person is like, I have 4. And it's like, thanks, you're the exception, not the rule. So cardinal fish, that might not be that popular, but I like a lot of cardinal fish.
I think the problem people get into cardinal fish is they think they can get schools of them.
Yeah, I don't do that. I do singulars.
Yeah. They and we're talking, what are we talking? Bang guys. We're talking about
PJ.
There's the long stripy ones that names escape me.
There's a 7-stripe. I don't know. It's and I got one of those and it was an awesome fish, a 7-stripe cardinal.
Yeah, 7 stripy anus. Yeah, they're not, you see pictures of them schooling, but they're actually shoaling. No, they're schooling because they're trying to get away from predators. I might have that backwards. Maybe Matt Wandell will tell us if I'm wrong. But they get into groups because they're scared.
Okay.
And if they're not scared, they beat the fuck out of each other.
So I don't remember.
Guys.
I don't remember the name of this one, but I got some, they're not crazy colorful and I should have written down its name, but I can't remember. It's the name of someone who discovered it. They were from Biota and they're sort of beigeish with not a lot of color from them.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but I put 2 in a tank and the one absolutely murdered the other one. But I like the fish, but then I realized I was like, oh, well, you don't put a pair in there or 3 of them. They'll just destroy each other in the confines of a small tank.
Yeah. So I think they're great fish. Get the ones you like. Don't think you're going to get a school out of them.
And they don't do a whole lot. It's just, I like the way they look and they're sort of interesting.
Yeah.
Jenna
I love me a
Campus-
bang guys.
Oh, sorry.
I was saying I love me bang guys, but even sometimes getting them to just pair up is a pain in the ass.
Them too. Yeah. Cotterneye. What is their genus name? Terra something. I just know their species name is Cotterneye. Genacanthus angels. Absolutely love Genacanthus angels. But it's funny. There's a couple that are affordable, and then the other ones that you got to have deeper pockets for.
Ridiculous.
But,
one. Yeah, I have a Bellis.
Bellis. So I love Lamarck, and I love
great fish. They get a little bigger.
Yeah. But then there's the Watanabe.
Watanabe's great fish. Gets a little bigger too.
And expensive, right? Watanabe
it can be. I haven't really seen Watanabes around for a while.
And then which is the Genacanthus is interesting too, because first of all, I love them because I love angels. And with my thing of not putting more than one central pyggy, but I still want to do another angel. I don't find that Genacanthus and central pyggy care about each other very much. Meaning they seem to get along. That's been my experience.
Oh, and I think it's a good point what you make about, you say you only get one dwarf angel in a tank. I'm jumping. Yeah. So I'm talked about that. I had 2 in my tank, and they do go after each other, but my tank is designed for hidey holes for fish.
Safe spaces.
So that's a great way to say it. So they can absolutely, I mean, I set the tank up thinking from my African cichlid days, you want 3-dimensionality in your aquascape so that the fish can be in the same tank without seeing each other.
Yeah.
So aggression, I get these, and then they're out of sight from each other and they generally stop. It's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Genacanthus is so cool because I don't know what the scientific name for that is, but the sexual dimorphism. So
That's a good word.
A male looks looks I don't want to say way different, but the males look different than the females.
Way
And
different.
you can totally pair them together. It's a cool thing if you wanted to do that. I don't know. I've never done that, but I've never put totally different genicanthus together. So I don't know if they get pissed at each other for that.
You need bigger tank anyway.
And I mean, I use them a lot. I've never seen them nip. They don't seem to be a very nipping at corals sort of fish.
Yeah, not too bad.
I absolutely love Exenius blennies.
That was a good pronunciation.
Exenius? Okay.
Yeah.
Then my brain is saying it correctly.
That's good. I am so that
Are you serious?
I always find them to be a little bit of a pain in the ass.
So right off the bat, my two most loved ones is Exenius bicolor and Exenius mitis. I love mitis blennies.
Yeah, they're cool.
There's also a sort of cool one, Clausewitz. It's not super colorful. And
Named
I know,
after Santa Claus.
yeah, Klaus. But they, it's funny. So like bicolor blennies, they'll clean up some algae. I wouldn't want anyone to ever think that they're a resource for helping you with an algae problem, because it's such a tiny impact. But they're one of the ones that'll leave the little pock marks all over the glass.
The last bicolor I got was nipping at shit, like, or I could be wrong. Maybe it wasn't. And I found where it slept. It slept in a turbinaria, and so at night I went in, and I just really quickly pulled the whole turbinaria out. It was sleeping in it.
That's a good way to catch them, because they'll often go in a bolt hole.
Yeah,
and think that they're good to go, and you can pull it out.
middle of the night. Got to be asleep.
Yeah, but that's another good thing you bring up, because there are some times where I feel like a fish is picking at maybe algae or some sort of pod at the base of a coral. And now I don't know this for fact, but I'm just wonder sometimes that we think, oh, he's eating that coral. And sometimes I just think they're eating things around the coral. It's hard to say.
It can be hard to tell, especially on the margins of the coral, because they're probably going to nip the growing edge anyway. So they are going to be nipping at it.
That's true.
But, all things being equal, the coral should probably be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's another one, Stigmatura, I think is the name. Anyways,
Stigmata.
Stigmata. It's a ministry fish. Dragonettes. And one of my favorite words to say when I learned it in Latin, it just makes you, like a douche nozzle. It makes you feel so cool that you can say this, Synchiropus splendidus. It just feels like I'm speaking Martian. And then, but there's Synchiropus splendidus, there's Synchiropus picturatus, the target one. And then people sometimes forget that like scooter blennies is a Synchiropus as well. Yeah. And then there's like that very beautiful reddish Synchiropus. Anyways, dude, you can't not put a dragonet in a reef tank.
I had a pair for 12 years.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They're great fish.
So again, Biota Captive breeds these.
Yeah.
And again, it's the same story that Richard had. I always wanted to support Biota. So, I ordered bunches of the Synchiropus. I guess I didn't figure how small they were. And then they scared the shit out of me when they came in. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to make my money back on these. They're so damn small. Guess what? Every single one of those is still alive to this day and huge.
Awesome.
Love that fish.
Awesome fish.
Okay, controversial. I love tangs, but man, it pisses me off. It's the go-to fish. They're overplayed. You can totally call me. I'm tang police. Overplayed. I take over systems. Hey, help me figure out what's wrong with my tank. You have 30 tangs in it. Overplayed. So overplayed. And people just go for looks, and they don't stop to think that like powder blue. Love powder blues. Hell no would I ever put a powder blue in a reef tank. Horrible. Lovely to look at, horrible to take care of.
Yeah, I think I like that part in my managing algae talk when I get to tangs and talk about, I have a big red X through the powder blue tang.
Yes.
In the picture. Because they're That's one of my favorite fishes.
Uh-huh.
The powder blue or the hybrid powder blue. I love the color. I love the way it looks. And I won't have one again unless I have a much bigger tank.
I can't remember if they're para-acantherus. I do know the species name is leucosternon. Leucosternon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
but
para-acantherus leucosternon.
but they're dicks and they're not so great at algae. So what are you doing?
Oh my God, they freak out. You know, and I would loosely put like the powder browns in that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can get real grumpy. Man, if you had a fish only system, like Shoal is so awesome. But again, evil.
They get so big and they're so mean, not
domineering.
Mean. They're so dominating is the right word. Can never. I love the Shoal. I'll never do one.
No. Okay, so then let's talk about what I would love to put. So I like Tomini tangs.
Tomini tangs are tasty.
I like the whole genus, the Tenocotus. It has a C in front of a T. I think it's Tenocotus. So you have like the white tail. I think that's Flavicauda, I think. Then you have one of the fish I love the most, but it's very hard to get, is that here's one, coal. I always say coal tang, yellow eye tang, but some people say Coley.
Who the fuck knows?
But that is so the Tenocotus, those are very busy tangs that are usually, in their mouth is just fucking made for, scrubbing a rock. And they're super good. Of course, I love Zebrasoma, but Zebrasoma, the yellow tang, purple tang, all that. Those are one of the ones that piss me off, because people will put 3 young ones in a tank. And I say, man, I wouldn't have put 3 Zebrasomas in a tank. And they're like, no, they totally get along. 2 years from now, no, yeah, they all killed each other and they had head and lateral line erosion.
I don't think they're particularly good as janitors either.
No, because they're like, that specialized.
Yeah, the reason I have the yellow tangs here is because I'm trying to find something very, very small that will help with algae. And you can get tiny captive bred yellow tangs.
Yep.
They help about this much. But they make me feel like I'm doing something.
So this one is going to be a little weird. Chromis. I love
Chromis. Are great.
Well, but here's the deal. I always used to, in a larger reef tank, I was like, oh man, I want a little school or shoal. Again, I'm unclear of the difference of, a blue-green chromis, green chromis. But I quit doing that like 10 years ago, because invariably they whittle each other down. So I do this sort of dumb, weird thing, and it's just for my enjoyment. I put 1 chromis in each reef tank that I do. I love that it's like a metallic teal color. I love the color, but I'm just tired of them killing each other. There's lots of little fish that do that too. For me, like firefish goby, Nemateleotris, do that real bad. There's a bunch of little, you think you're going to put a school of fish in a tank and they end up killing each other down. And I should branch out, because I know there's some other chromis that are pretty cool. There's that like one that has a real lyre tail and it's like half black and then white on the front. I think those are pretty chill.
Yeah. I got Vanderbilts. I like them.
Yeah, Vanderbilt.
But they will fight each other. I started with 5. I'm down to 3 over 10 years.
So same thing, right? They seem to, you don't see them egregiously doing it, but they kill each other.
Yeah. Now you see them in the wild in big schools. So a shoal is any grouping of fish that happen to be together.
Okay.
And a school is when they're all moving together in the same direction. Like you get a school of anchovies, but you get like more of a shoal of reef fish. But I guess you could have a school of tangs, but they're not always. We got to ask Kai.
Okay.
Actually, we should get Kai to send us a minute video talking about the difference.
Butterflies that's a tricky one, because it's my opinion that most butterflies should stay in the ocean. Leave them the fuck alone. And there's very few that can do good in a reef tank. I am so in love with this fish, and I've had a couple in reef tanks, is the pyramid butterfly. but um, and I've done many of them. It's just that for whatever reason, they haven't been super long lived for me.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a fun one. So I wrote the scientific name down, and I've never I haven't committed this one to memory, but Hematorychthes polylepis. Hematorychthes polylepis.
I hate that fish.
You do really?
Hate that fish.
What do you? Why do you hate it?
We had them in the big tank, in the 212,000 gallon reef tank, and they just kind of picked at stuff in a group,
Really?
and I didn't, and it was like, you know, I'm twisted with that because that tank was kind of done a little backwards, because it's a public display. It needed to be filled with fish while the corals grow in. Unless you're super careful about what fish you put in there, you're going to have problems getting corals going. So, so I might be skewed on my view of that fish.
Here's a blenny that I absolutely adore, and I've been trying to get them in every tank that I do. It's a red spot blenny or orange spot blenny. And again, I love the fish, but I haven't committed their name to memory. Bleniella chrysospylos. Bleniella chrysospylos. I freaking love them. It just because they have a ton of personality, like a lot of charisma. All the ones I put them in, it's funny. They're one of these fish that will totally respond to you when you walk up to the tank. I take care of this 150 gallon aquarium, and anytime you walk up to the tank, he has this one rock that he loves to go, and he'll get vertical and just like cock his head and just look at you. And it's sort of like a Pavlovian response thing. And man, the client loves it because of all this charisma. And it's not like the most egregiously colored fish, but these orange or red dots are pretty intense on them.
Yeah.
And it just plays to that human emotion when you walk up the tank, like, look at me, look at me. It's like, oh, I like you. You ever kept one of those?
Nope.
Bleniella. I don't know of any
Maybe
other.
I have.
Any other thing in the genus I'm not really aware of.
Mm.
I have to mention hawkfish. I put freaking hawkfish in every tank that I have, but it's only two that I really consider for a reef tank, which is long-nosed hawk. And dude, that one has a crazy Latin name, oxy, blah, blah. I'm not even going to try it.
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. It's the oxycontin fish. And flame hawk. Now, with flame hawks and long-nosed hawks, man, they can be sometimes dicks, especially a long nose to smaller fish.
Or shrimp.
And shrimp are real bad. Like if you wanted cleaner shrimp, Lismata amboinensis with a flame hawk, Armatus. I can't remember this genus name, but Armatus. But man, that you'd have to get a big shrimp. They'll leave coral banded shrimp alone. Stenopus hispidus, I think, is coral banded shrimp. But if you get like a small cleaner shrimp, that shit's gone. So hawkfish will sort of, and really bad jumpers, crazy jumpers. So if you don't have a secure lid, you can just kiss it goodbye. But I always have to put one in a tank.
Yeah. See, so I think what I keep thinking up as we get towards the end of your list, is that get fish you like, and then make sure that you are keeping them in a way that they're not fighting with other fish. Right. So if I wanted long-nosed hawkfish, that means there's a bunch of other fish or shrimp I'm not going to get. Exactly. Right. You can't just toss everything together. I have a Rainfordia, a Percularis, right? The flathead perch, the Australian flathead. It's not really a perch. Anyway, I love that fish. And now that it's big, I'm probably not going to be able to keep shrimp in there anymore. That is the cost I am paying for having a fish that I love so much that I only see rarely.
And this is a part that I want the novice to understand. Is a lot of part of the wisdom that Richard and I will have about fish is to understand that when you want this fish and you get it, you also need to understand that what does not work that great with it. Now, what you have just excluded from your tank by getting that. Because, without the wisdom, you're just throwing fish in there and they're killing and eating and fighting each other. And you're not helping your own wallet, and you're not helping the sanctity of your own reef tank.
Yeah. And if you want a fish tank, set up a fish tank. Fish tanks are great.
Mhm.
But I would set up a fish tank differently than I would set up a reef tank.
So I have more on the list, but perhaps I'll do another show on it because
Yeah.
we just can't drone on and on forever and ever. But there's much more fish, so we'll revisit that at some other point, or perhaps have a that's weird. That's cool. We'll have a list of what Richard does because it's so fun because you and I have so many differences.
Right. Yeah, baby.
But anyway, so thank you for watching the show. And, put comments in the bottom because I love to respond to those comments.
Yeah. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, saltwateraquarium.com, Champion Lighting and Supply, and PolypLab for powering us.
Until next time, toodaloo.
Stay moist. Awkwardness. Awkwardness. Up to you.
Is that's your, didn't Gresh do that? That's that like IROC Z.
The fire
cephalopod?
squid.
What is it called?
A fire squid.
Fire squid. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
from a Firebird car, except it's a squid.
That would be so rad.
I had it on the front of my car for the longest time. I'm going to do it again. Yeah. And this is a glass from Latvia, apparently.
Oh,
so,
really?
I don't know if we're going to be selling them or not, but it's pretty great. Oh, there's something in this box for you.
What?
Yeah.
Is it one of those snakes that pops out?
What? I got,
Oh, it's a bird. I love birds.
a Firebird.
Firebird. No, next time you have to like get hairspray and light your middle finger on fire. That's a true Firebird. Man, I'd do that, but that could go horribly wrong. Hey, Richard.
Yeah, Ben.
This is just me creating blooper crap.
Yeah.
But I do mean this totally, is that I think that would be sort of cool if you took the packaging from Champion Lighting Supply, that cardboard.
Yeah.
And I'm requesting, maybe, I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse, but I want to see some like man panties, or like, I want you to make underwear out of them.
What if I make a cape?
You've gone from underwear to cape.
Well, you and I have a very different understanding of how capes work.
Or like a corrugated cardboard loincloth.
Okay, I'll do that.
Don't die.
Okay, let's do a show, motherfucker.
Welcome to Reef Beef. My name is Benjamin
My name is Richmond.
And today we're going to be talking about fish that we love to put in reef tanks. And Rich has, you know what? Let me scrub this. No.
Okay. All right.
So I know that we're doing the thing, but didn't you say you had a beef? Welcome to Reef Beef. My name is Ben.
My name is Richard.
And today we're going to talk about fish that we like to put in reef tanks, talk about some stuff. Oh God, let me do this over again real quick.
That when you see that, am I frozen?
You're frozen,
What the fuck?
but you're frozen in a cool pose. Oh, and now you're coming back. I was afraid that was me.
What the hell is going on? I'm sorry. I'm having a problem today.
You're caught in the void.
I'll be in a void.
I'm just glad it's not me.
Wow. Let's see.
That's the story of my
Oh,
life.
okay. It went to that. Come on. You go here. This is easy. There.
Come to the light, Carol Ann.
Okay, you're back. I'm back.
Yep.
Okay, so they're all screwed up. It's more that they oh my God, my brain just fucking froze.
Defibrillator.
Toodaloo. Toodles. That's our That's our way out. We say
Stay
toodle.
moist.